Friends, today's NRI Samai program from Los Angeles brought to you commercial free by listeners like you. Your generous donations make possible for us to stay commercial free, and today's show is pre-recorded. If you have a question for the guest, please send an email to nrisamai@gmail.com. We will follow up with the guest and find the answer for you. Thank you for your support.
Friends, welcome back to NRI Samai. This is Sri Hari, your host for today's show. Today we are going to talk about the issue that we are facing as of today. In urban areas, in big cities, water is a big issue. Just a few decades ago, we haven't had this kind of issue. So we want to see what it's going to look like in future, and also what are some of the examples that we are hearing already. Today we have with us Ranjan Panda ji. He is from Odisha. He's called Odisha's Green Crusader and pioneer of water rights and conservation movements in this state, and has got international recognition as one of India's leading voices of water. The Waterkeeper Alliance Board of Directors has designated him as the Mahanadi River Waterkeeper. Then Ranjan Panda ji was also named as NDTV Toyota Green Hero in 2010 for his contribution towards environment protection by the way of renovation of the traditional water harvesting techniques in western Odisha. He is also the convener of Water Initiative Odisha. Ranjan ji, welcome to NRI Samai.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us, sir. To begin with, could you tell us a little bit about what you are currently working on?
Yeah, basically we are currently working as a network of people who talk about water issues. We are really, the problem that we face here is of both abundance and scarcity, and there seems no coordination between several players in water sector, including government and civil society, and a lot of conflicts are arising. So currently we are trying to promote traditional water harvesting and management, and river protection, river conservation, and also a lot of emphasis now we are giving on how to make cities more water sensitive, and because the way cities are now growing, in our opinion, is the next, biggest challenge. In fact, they have started to be the biggest challenge in, our water resources. So these are some of the issues that we are now working on as an advocacy group, and I think we can then discuss more when we come to the topic. Yeah.
Sure, sir. Maybe you can tell a little bit more about this network. Who are you working with? Is it are the groups across India or also outside, or is it specific to Odisha?
Yeah, this all started when I was a student in Sambalpur University in the year 1988, studying sociology. So starting from there, we basically started looking at managing people around natural resources, and there we were astounded by the fact that a lot of traditional water harvesting management systems are very successfully existing in entire India. Especially we looked at the central provinces at that moment, central highlands, but then later on gradually we started to increase our network. It's a very purely voluntary network where we work with all groups who work around water issues. So at this moment it is very much focused on Odisha vibrantly as a network of farmers, students, youth, academics, media, and people like me, social activists. So these are groups who pull together when there is an issue that we need to talk about. Otherwise, we keep on working with organizations who are working in the field also, and we network with them, we directly work with them. So it's sort of a very on and off, joining with people, but a regular flow of advocacy and research keeping water at center stage of debate at policy level and at the community level. That is what we do. Beyond Odisha, we also network with other groups in India who are working on similar issues, and that is through our meetings, seminars, and whatever other activities that we can join our bases with. And internationally also there are several networks with whom we work. It's more of information exchange, exposure kind of relationships. With this new Waterkeeper Alliance, now I am very much connected with them because they recognize me. They're from the New York. They recognize me for my contribution to conserve river Mahanadi, the sixth largest river in India. And now I am very much connected with this Waterkeeper Alliance and their groups. They're very much present in the U.S. Their presence is, I think, the most strongest in the U.S. And I am like one of the very few Waterkeeper who are from the international group within the Waterkeeper Alliance. So that's another network that now I am very regularly involved with.
I see. And how do you guys keep in touch? Do you plan to come here, or what is?
Yeah, we normally for the Waterkeeper, we have a regular interaction with all the Waterkeepers around the world, somewhere around 700 some odd, mostly in the US. So we keep on exchanging ideas and information. Whatever we do, there is solidarity and there is information sharing. If there are issues, for example, that we need to work together at a global level, then we immediately reach out to each other. And each year they have a global conference of the Waterkeepers. So I'm very new to the system. So I just attended last year one in the Pittsburgh, and looking forward to this year, this year's meeting also. So for the Waterkeeper Alliance, I think this is how it works.
Do you know
mostly, yeah. That is what I think Denver or somewhere. I'm not very sure at the moment. The information should be coming.
I see. Excellent.
Sometime in June. Yeah.
I see. Got it. And one of the issues that came up that got more visibility recently is from Brazil. Major city, actually one of the biggest cities in the entire world, Sao Paulo. It is running out of water, and they're saying it is at 5% of its water reserves for drinking water for the city. Mm-hmm. Have you heard of it? If so, can you tell a little bit about what's happening there?
Yeah. I've been keeping a track of Sao Paulo, and I don't know how to pronounce it, Sao Paulo, but then I keep a track of this. And I think the entire problem, like we keep on giving an example in India that how Brazil has gone for 70% water supply systems and all. In India and urban area, it is actually even less than 60%. But then the real problems with cities like Sao Paulo is they have not. They are an outcome of a very conventional and traditional mindset of our policy makers. That is what we also face in Odisha in India. Is that what they call in Brazil, as far as I remember, it's a place of water abundance. But then now they are facing this kind of problem because a lot of the way they have managed water resources is problem. Besides the leakages in the system, I think I heard that is almost 30% of the leakage in the water supply system, and a lot of restrictions they have already put in twice in a week, or even there are certain restrictions on restaurants. So all these has, I think, happened because of a lot of the deforestation that has happened in the catchment area of the rivers.
Yeah.
Then the pollution, and of course the the reservoir depletion has happened near Sao Paulo. The reservoir depletion has happened because of all this deforestation and climate change, but then also because of a lot of the population growth in the city and the pollution. So that is something I think almost all the cities are going to face that, and Sao Paulo should be an alarming, indication for all other cities also. Yeah.
And it's a large city, right? It's is it like comparable to a city like Bangalore, Hyderabad? Because we can. The reason I want to stress is we can think it's far from us. It's in Brazil, but similar thing can happen in other cities too, right?
It's already happening. See, the way cities are growing in the entire world, and now one should. That's why I said recently our focus has also been the cities. You see, the problem is the cities are becoming the next, temples of, you can say, development. They are being looked into as a destination because of reasons like everything has been is being sacrificed to develop cities, and our planners are not looking into the periphery, not looking into the hinterlands, not looking into the countryside. They're just concentrating on few cities. Even if you look at the current Indian government also, but we are talking more about 100 smart cities, and that means that our focus as a traditionally rural agrarian community, we are now focusing into a city-based community. I think if you look at the last decadal population growth period as per the Indian planning, then this 2001 to 2011 has been a defining decade compared to the previous decade after independence, because the city population growth rate actually for the first time surpassed the rural population growth rate, and by almost 2.5 times. And that, what does that mean actually? That means the cities have grown out of proportion within such a short span of time. Like just take for example Delhi or Bangalore or Chennai or Hyderabad. They have grown by 10s, 20s, 30s, of times during the last 40, 50 years. And within in the last decade or so, their growth has been really monumental. And this means that a lot of population is actually migrating from the villages because the economy there has almost been destroyed, and facilities is not available. So everybody wants to come to the city, and then the city is now overpopulated. You see the slum growth rate in Indian cities, and the slum growth rate is again another 2.5 times more than the normal growth rate in the urban population. So that is where the facility is not available. So the cities are becoming sort of a jungle, different kind of a concrete jungle, where you invite more people, but you have no resources within the cities, because within the cities you have nothing. You have killed all your water bodies. You have killed your rivers inside the city. You have killed your forests. You are just building concretes, and that is not a sustainable way of developing in a modern era. That's why a lot of problems are happening already.
Yeah, that's true. And is it mainly about redistribution of water? Is it about getting water from outside and into the city? Is that the solution, or is it? I have a feeling that's not even that doesn't solve all our issues.
That's what happened to Sao Paulo. You have not managed the mighty Amazon River basin and properly, and now you are facing a problem inside the city. So that happens when you don't manage Jamuna properly, and you have a problem in Delhi. So we are actually in a very, very difficult situation at the moment across the globe, I say, and in India also, we can see that very, very profoundly, is that cities are, as I told you, are devoid of their own resources at the moment. They have to depend on outside.
Right.
And they have to encroach upon the villages, the rivers, wherever, wherever there is a source, like talk about Rajasthan, talk about Jaipur in Rajasthan, it gets its water from a few hundred kilometers. Talk about Hyderabad, now it builds reservoir somewhere, 140 kilometers. Talk about Delhi, it's planning to build a reservoir in Uttarakhand. So there you create another problem. There you displace people. There you deforest the river basins, the mountains, and there you disturb the ecology. And here at your own place also, you disturb the ecology. Cities, as I always say, cities are actually triple murderers, if you can say them.
Yeah.
They destroy the forest in the mountains, in the in the forest areas. They displace people, and then they are not also regenerating their own water resources.
Yeah.
And they have virtually killed all their Delhi no more has all its a few hundred water bodies that it used to have. All of them have become garbage pits, or they have succumbed to the builder lobby, and that is same to every city. And the typical crisis we face at the moment, what is also the case in Sao Paulo is due to climate change, also fueled by these local factors, is that your dry days are increasing and your rainfall has not decreased, but then the intensity has increased within a short span of time.
Yeah.
So that is what also happened in Sao Paulo. That is also what happening in India, and that's another region where you see the cities across India have failed to manage the rainwater within that particular point of time where it rains almost like cloudburst, and it floods. Like almost 30% of Delhi is flooded when there is a few hundred millimeter of rainfall.
Yeah.
The same in the state I stay in the deltaic plain, in Bhubaneswar, in Cuttack, you just cannot escape flooding. So you have not been able to retain rainfall at the upper basin, and now you have not also been able to manage the flood at the lower riparian area where your city is there. So you have created concrete structures which doesn't let the water go. You have not also created as much as water bodies that can hold the flood water so that your future is safe. So you are basically all in a loss situation, and that is what is facing. All the cities are facing this problem. Most of our cities. So I think cities have to look into this water management very, very seriously and in an ecological spirit.
Friends, NRI Samay is a non-profit independent alternate media from Los Angeles, USA, which brings positive stories from grassroots activists from all corners of India and across the world. NRI Samay does not rely on corporate funding, and our shows are commercial free. We only rely on your donations. Corporate funded media is driven by the TRP rating, and profits are blurring the distinction between news and entertainment. Why do our news channels talk so much about cricket, movies, accidents, popular figures' personal lives, babies of heroines, gossips, etc., while they should be covering the struggles of people, inequality in our society, rural issues, and border security issues? Why did our media raise some corruption crusaders to the sky on one day and shut them off completely when graft charges were raised on those corporate sponsors? Media relies so much on the corporate funding and government blessings that they cannot report independently. NRI Samay is different. We don't accept funds from any corporations, and hence our shows are commercial free. We completely rely on donations from you. Please consider donating to NRI Samay And please go to nrisamai.com and donate generously. This is the only way together that we can continue NRI Samay. All donations are kept transparent on nrisamai.com. And if you have any questions, please write to nrisamay@gmail.com.
I see. And so what are the examples of what these cities, large cities can do?
See, the large cities first, I think they should first, for, I always keep on saying, for cities to be sustainable, the rural areas have to be sustainable.
Yeah.
You have to first have some policies that you cannot let your city grow beyond a point. Because that is where, that is, see, each individual, even under our planning commission, there is some which challenges during the last 3-4 years in all meetings.
Yeah.
But there is a mindset, there is a understanding within the government also that if the government insofar as providing water as a fundamental right, a particular amount of water,
yeah,
the government feels that 40 liter is enough for the rural areas, but 140 liter is for urban areas. So it means and it is also a testimony to the reality that cities are almost 3 to 4 times more water guzzling than the rural areas. You have made the city like that.
Yeah.
Your habits have become like that, and so I always say that one city means like 10% urban population means actually 50% rural population. So we have already overburdened our countries with cities, which are actually one urban individual is 3 to 4 times rural individual as far as water consumption is concerned.
Yeah.
So we cannot manage this kind of a situation anymore. We have to plan in a very integrated approach, and we have to plan at the river basin approach. We have to, like what happened to Sao Paulo, is actually a problem with the Amazon basin at the first instance. Then the management within your city. So cities now have to participate in river basin management. They cannot just merely be consumers, as I used to say. City dwellers cannot be just, merely made consumers. You pay 100 rupees or 200 rupees and take this much of water. That's your role, and responsibility is over with that. No. I think urban areas should now have, must participate in river basin management, and they must see that within their cities also, they have enough of, as much as possible, at least 30% open space, forestry, and water bodies, plus recycling.
Yeah.
Because cities have the money. All the cash economy is flourishing in cities, so they can do a lot of recycling and redesigning their. It may take time, but you don't have an option. You have to do a lot of redesigning of your infrastructure, of your landscapes, wherever possible, and especially my message is for the new states where, for example, Telangana, where we are building a new capital city. That should come up as an example of a water-sensitive, eco-sensitive city, not as a concrete jungle again. Then you also do that, with like small cities in Bhubaneswar, it is still possible. In Hyderabad, it is still possible. But I think our mindset has to change. The cities will all be concrete. They will look all jazzy, all fashionable, but the villages, will bear all the brunt. So I think that should change. We should have because most of our areas are dependent on the monsoon rainfall, except for, and they have to have a capacity to increase they have to increase their capacity to hold rainwater through natural reservoirs and systems. And they cannot really, not only the building rooftop water harvesting, that is not going to help ideally. You have to have natural reservoirs, have them more. Wherever you have, you protect them and make specific, ecological planning for your city, so that there are a lot of green spaces I think for the cities, that is what is needed. And they should participate in river basin management from the mountain to the valleys. They cannot just simply they cannot just simply see it as consumers paying some money for the water they get. I think that should be the message.
I see. And I think the other issue is about the awareness, because, for example, what's happening in Sao Paulo, I don't think it's widely talked in the media, because it's not even in US. They do not talk about it in US in the mainstream media. So my bigger problem is this could be happening under our feet, and we don't even know about it until it really happens like a big issue.
Yes, see, water is not a big issue. That's a big problem. Water is the biggest issue, but it doesn't really, it's looked into as a business opportunity. And unfortunately, the more the water scarcity, the more the business finds an opportunity in this. It's now the World Bank has estimated it to the $1 trillion opportunity.
Wow.
And more crisis, the more business profits out of it.
Yeah.
So that is one thing that we have to now harp on. That actually money cannot solve water problem. I tell you very simple examples from any place in India. We feel that we can buy water, and that mindset is now coming into the urban people. Even our children in India are no more. They don't go to the rivers anymore. They don't know where from water comes. Exactly. They just see the water bottles. They just see the water taps.
Yeah.
So I think that awareness has to actually target this mindset first. That's what we have been doing with a new campaign called, Healthy Rivers, Happy Cities, where we are trying to take people back to the natural resources, to the rivers, to see actually where from the water comes, how the river has to stay alive, and how you are polluting the river. Like you are like India has embarked upon a Swachh Bharat mission, and we want everybody to be so, clean and everything. So our bathrooms are clean, our toilet is clean. But then where does the toilet water then go? It then goes down to a lower point at the same river. Then killing some fishery there, polluting some other villages out there. So, the planning, as I said, the awareness has to be on the source, where from water comes, how we pollute the water, and also at a larger scale. So, first thing I must say, the first message is city dwellers, I told you, cannot just be consumers. They have to be protector and conservation people also. They have to look back at the resources. Second is, just treating water as a commodity is not going to help. Because people who are rich, people who have the money, they will always keep, feeling that no matter what is the scarcity, whatever scarcity we have, we can buy water for us. So now the problem is that is not going to help actually. You may have the money at a point of time. Somebody used to say very good awareness message. You may have the money, but you may not have the oxygen. You may not have the water. So at a point of time, you can die with millions of dollars, on your bed, but for a drop of water, you really don't know. So I think that has to that should be the awareness message.
Yeah, I think unfortunately the poor and middle class people are the ones who will be affected first, and then the rich later. But I think the bigger problem is like you were saying, you go and buy a bottle of water, you don't know where it is coming from, and then you just put your tap on and water is going, and you don't know where the water is going. And you throw trash in the trash bin, the guy who picks up the trash, he comes and picks it up, then you don't know where it is going. Even for that matter, food, right? We don't know where the food is coming from, how it is made. Yeah. So I think the disconnect is more in the cities, because in the village you can see where the trash is going, you can see where the food is coming from. where water is coming from. But in cities, like you mentioned, it's we're surrounded with the concrete jungle, and we don't know where our food is coming, where it is going, where the trash is going.
Very true.
Yeah.
We waste water by wasting a lot of food. Actually, we don't know. That's the issue. Yeah.
I mean, for your organization, the things that you are working on, if what are the next step? And if somebody who is listening to the show, if they want to, support you guys anyway or join your mission, what can they do?
Yeah, they can always join with us, and as I said, it's a purely voluntary campaign. We want people to do their bit. We just want to be the network, networking person. We have other organizations who work in the ground. So if someone wants to support the mission, we can connect them with works at the ground. We will be basically the doing the anchoring thing in that. And if anybody can do something, like there are several activities that we plan to do and we have been doing. So people can just join in and do that with us. That's not an issue. But we don't, as yet, we don't receive any funds for ourselves. Like personally, I'm a freelance writer and journalist and researcher. I earn my own livelihood from my assignments, and I give my time to this network. Like that has been my passionate involvement all these years. So and anybody can join, and if there is a meeting is needed, we pull some resources. Some organization we request them. So we just do the anchoring. We just take the lead, but people are free to put in themselves within the network. So it's a very, very amazing kind of a group actually.
I see. And you said there are people who are working on the ground, and you can connect to them. Just for our listeners' purpose, if somebody wants to come forward, can you give an example of what kind of work we are talking about?
Yes, see, right now, for example, we are talking about there is a Bollywood film on water which is going to be released, and I gave some consultancy to them insofar as how they have properly projected the water sanitation issues of the country or not. And now they want to come back during the release of that film. They want sort of a water pause challenge or something, so that the stars who are involved in the film, they will try to adopt few villages. So, for example, if that happens, then we know villages which are water scarce. We have been doing something for the villages. So there can be irrigation provisions can be made with very small amount of money, where people actually everything will go directly to the people, and it will be all transparent and managed by the people themselves. We only facilitate this resource to go to the people. And so that is what, for example, that can be done. Then there is something that we want to start now is like for the Mahanadi river, because that is what we are focusing on at the moment as a unit. It's the 6th largest river. We are trying to work for better livelihood of the fisher folks, and we are trying to have a campaign to honor the river heroes. Identify people who have been with the river, to just make a sense of involvement inculcated within other people. We are now trying to honor some of the river people who are just directly working with the river, to honor them. So this is one kind of activity. Some people can help us in this. There is another thing that we are doing is actually children and water. We are taking children to water. We are trying to give them a lot of input and make a lot of environmental education, water education happen around rivers. so sorry, that can also happen. Some people may chip in that. Some people, at a later time, we are planning because a lot of coal mining and power plants are killing the Mahanadi River. So we are also trying to have something on alternative energy, solar and all. So, but that's sort of something that we're still discussing. Some people can chip in and work on that also. So it's all range of things that can be done, and we want to set Mahanadi as an example where community can work and live with the river on alternative, on green ways. So many things can be done actually.
Excellent. That's a great thing. I mean, you can have more people engaged. That will be excellent. I'm sure some people will come forward who are listeners, and then I'll direct them to you.
Please. That is always. All of them are welcome, and we also invite you to be part of the Mahanadi campaign, and please join with us.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Ranjan, for spending this time and also explaining a lot of these issues which are not covered in the mainstream media.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure, and thank you for connecting. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Friends, if you liked today's show, please go to youtube.com/NRI Samay and click on the subscribe button. You will get notified every time we publish a new show. And you can also like us on our social media sites like Facebook, Twitter, and Google+.